Hello and welcome to round 4 of PSGL here in Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, and this is going to be manic. Already qualifying, but to talk a little bit about the race, yeah, high slipstream, low dirty air on this game means that the race is just going to be absolute carnage, but we'll get more into that later in the video. For now, we're in our final lap of Q1 and trying to make it through to Q2. Obvious statement, I know. But yeah, the lap is going pretty decent at the moment, but speaking about the championship, we're coming in only 6 points away from the championship leader, Jarno Opmeer. So we need to have a good round here, and we need to progress forward and to be picking up consistently solid points. We've had 2 P2 finishes so far this season, and also a P8 in Silverstone. So yeah, it's been a pretty solid start to the season, and we're looking to build upon that as now we go into the final sector. 0.6 of a tenth up on our delta, and really we need to hook up this final corner to try and guarantee our slot into Q2, but we don't. We make a mistake, and we're actually going to be losing time on the delta, only marginally improving, and yeah, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. As you can see, we just make it through compared to Josh Ider, who's in P16. A championship rival as well, Lucas Blakely, is out in Q1, so a fantastic opportunity for us to gain points on him in the championship fight as well. First lap here on the new set of tyres in Q2. We're able to improve by 4 tenths, running up to the line, and this is going to be a much better lap and puts us straight away into provisionally P2, what does turn into P7, as now we're going to be riding fully on board for our final lap here in Q2. New set of tyres, of course. Turn 1 is so difficult. Hook it up on the braking, down into third, a little bit of a lock up on the front left, but was able to rotate the car quite nicely on the second apex, curbing the stones, and now we're going to be firing our way into the first sector, high speed section of that. A little bit of hesitation in the barrier on the left hand side, just naturally because it's quite easy to lose a tyre, lose a wing, and destroy your lap as you go through the sequence. So we're finding a little bit of time through sector 1 here on this lap, in fact going purple, fast if anyone, and that has been a strong point for us in qualifying so far, has definitely been our first sector pace versus everyone else. Seems that we're on a bit higher wing, to be honest, in qualifying comparing to other people. At least that's how I felt when I look back at other people's footages after the race anyway. But speaking about ourselves, we are going to be just under half a tenth up, as we're going to do probably the best corner I've done all practice long, all qualifying long, and we're right on the white line, gained half a tenth through there, and that was very solid. So now I know all I need to do is just get the braking zone hooked up, square off the corner, and get a nice traction out of the corner here, running up to the line, and that should be consolidating our position here into Q3. Running up to the line, just under a tenth improvement, and yes, easily through in P4. Lovely jubbly, nice stuff. First run in Q3 is of course going to be on the worn set of tyres. I've had to do 2 runs in both Q1 and Q2, but running up to the line, it was a very nice lap actually. I was very happy with the lap, and we're able to do a 0.707, yeah. Well, one set of tyres, that was really nice, that lap. But now, final lap here in qualifying, determining our good position down into chicane. Hook up the first apex pretty well, but we just get not that great rotation for the second apex, and we lost about a tenth there, being a bit wide into the tricky section now. Was able to throw the car in quite nicely, gaining a bit of time back on the delta. So yeah, we lost, like I said, about a tenth on corner 2 there, just not being fully on the inside curbstones, and then bottoming them out on the car because of that. But we have still improved our first sector, and we're going to be on a high 0.3, what is really good, to be honest. A low 0.3 is what I was targeting going into this lap. So considering the mistake in corner 2 was still quite a solid recovery for the first sector. into the second sector, right, left, right up against the barrier, using up all the curve, and again just getting nice and close to the barrier on the outside as well. And now 1.2 temps up, opening up the DRS, coming to the end of sector 2, and we're going to have a small hesitation here as we have a bit of a loose rear end as we get to the apex. You can see I had to correct here, and that cost us a bit of ability to get back on the power sooner. Nevertheless though, we did find a bit of time still on the delta compared to my previous lap into the final apex, and trying to square off the apex as much as possible like I talked about before, and pick up beautiful traction on the exit. And that's what I was able to do. Wasn't really perfect, wasn't a fantastic lap, but wasn't a bad lap at the same time. Running up to the line, and we do a 5.28,
yeah,
what puts us
pretty tricky. One tire run
on the grid in the end of the day.
Lap was clean.
So yeah, lap was clean, but yeah, could have been a bit more, could have been a bit worse, but still, nice, consistent qualifying, and that's what we're building upon on these seasons in WOR and PSGL. So P8 is a nice place to be starting for this race, especially because we could have almost been out in Q1. With that being said, we're on the hard compound tires, 5 lights, and lights out, and away we go here in Saudi Arabia, Jeddah. Down into turn 1, you can see just trying to pick our line, not get involved in drama, not be involved in a potential collision. And now just on the traction, Duncan Hoffman not outside, we just cut ahead of him just to make sure he can't get side by side with us. And now we're leaving plenty of space for the cars ahead. You can see lifting, just simply because why do I need to be closer to them in this situation? It's better just not to have risk, better to leave myself some distance so I don't risk running into the back of them if they have a collision, contact, or slow up for an unexpected reason. But we are through the danger phase of sector 1 on lap 1 now, and yeah, we're starting to settle into this race, and immediately I realized that I went too low on the wing with the setup. Was my mistake. Basically, yeah, I went too low. Should have tested higher wings, because as you're going to see as this race unfolds, we are a rocket in a straight line. But we just don't have any cornering performance to manage against the other cars and drivers as well. So there's a plus, we're fast in a straight line. Negative, we're slow in the corners because of the lack of wings. You can see right now, just gaining so much on Pookie in a straight line. So this is when I started to think, okay, right, we're definitely very low on the wing. Let's see what happens during sector 1 on lap 2 when other people are starting to get into their flow, and then we can start building our database and knowledge ahead of the rest of the stint into the braking zone. You can see through the chicane, it's low speed, don't need too much downforce through here, but even still, we lose about a quarter of a tenth on traction alone to Pookie. But as you're going to see right now, as we start going through the first sequence here, we're on the limit of our grip, and we're going to start just losing time hand over fist, and we're having to understeer the car quite a lot just due to lack of front grip. So yeah, we lost 2.5 to almost 3 tenths to Pookie in the first sector alone. So yeah, we have a massive straight line speed advantage, but we're going to be suffering in the corners. So these early laps when the tyres are not really that good on the hard compound tyres before the side deck kicks in is going to be a struggle. I'm very happy, I'm very confident with my tyre deck on this year's game. So once the tyres start to degrade a little bit, I can bring a bit of that advantage back and neutralize the disadvantage of grip I have at the moment. But for the time being, it's going to be difficult. And you can see lap 5 almost actually dropping out of the DRS of Pookie. That's how much we're struggling with our downforce levels. Of course, once we got back to the straight line, he was able to fly and was able to catch a bit of that delta back up again. But nevertheless, we are having to drive every corner on the absolute maximum attack, on the maximum limit, to try and just stay within the DRS. We set a new personal best of the race, and we're still 8 tenths behind. You can see big rear lockup in the braking zone there, just pushing everything to the maximum limit possible. And now you can see here on lap 6, as the tyre deck starts to kick in, we're able to close in a bit more because the balance of the car was shifting, and I was able to degrade the rear tyres a little bit more to create a bit more natural rotation. As we're maybe going on the attack, we think better of it, not going to go free wide around the outside there. That is just asking to be put into the wall in the braking zone. I'm sure Declan and Pookie would have tried to leave me the space, but when you're putting your car that late, that aggressively in that braking zone, you're more than likely going to get put in the wall. So sometimes it's better to back off and be a little bit more smarter about the situation. Now looking around the outside of Declan Barrett though, because it's only too wide now, side by side in the second apex, with even space on the exit, and now he's going to have the traction on the outside line, and yeah, he's able to retain P6, but nice effort nevertheless here on lap 8. And like I was talking about, wearing out those rear tyres a little bit more deliberately so I can enhance the rotation of the car and make it a little bit better for myself, as Jake Brendon misses his braking point and hits into the side of us. We actually saw him coming at the last second, so if you play the video in slow motion, you see me look behind at a very fractional time before the contact was made, open up my steering wheel to try and avoid him, to give him the space, because yeah, he apologized after on his video, on his stream when I watched it back, but yeah, that was crazy, to be honest, that was nuts. But now we're again going on the attack. We get hit from behind from Duncan, and now you can see we're side by side with Declan Barrett. We got hit from Duncan in the braking zone, and that pushed us around the outside, not somewhere we want to be, and now we're still side by side, and I don't want to be here. You can see now we turn off our battery, and we actually let Declan go ahead, because I don't want to fight him, I don't want to lose DRS, and now we're making wheel-to-wheel contact with Duncan Hoffman, and we're only just able to retain the place, but my battery has been destroyed because of this, you know. For what I think was going to be a relatively okay attempt to overtaking Declan, I got then hit behind, what meant I lost the stability in the braking zone, what then meant it was really hard to complete the move to Declan. So yeah, it was a bit unfortunate because I got hit.
He ruined it by just hitting me last lap.
Yeah,
fucking guy,
you can hear I was not happy because by using my battery on the previous lap straight, I was really aiming and was quite necessary to get past Declan in the braking zone and to be ahead of him. But then when that did not happen, yeah, put me in a really vulnerable position because then I had no battery and I didn't gain anything on the track position. So yeah, his racing, these things can happen, especially around the track like Jeddah. As you can see now, we're losing the position to Fabrizio. Now we're just going to focus on recharging the battery for the rest of this stint and then refocus, reshape up the remainder stint on the mediums after the pit stop. But yeah, I think with how this track is, everyone's saving battery at the end of the straights, it's really easy to overcook it and hit someone in the ring, to be honest. So yeah, no hard feelings, it's just how it looks like, and you see now going up the inside of Fabrizio, but I had a feeling to back out of it. I just didn't want to put my car up the inside, and that feeling and that intuition came true because now Otis Lawrence hit the wall and is out of the race. If I went up the inside, we would have had contact.
Had a feeling not to go for it, and I guess that was right.
You could hear my reaction live in the moment saying, I had a feeling not to go for it, I guess that was right. Yeah, if I left my car up the inside of Fabrizio there, as we get squeezed to the wall, this race is chaos, this race is mental. Yeah, if I went up the inside of Fabrizio, more than likely both me, Fabrizio, and Otis would have been outside of the race because we would have all crashed together. But yeah, backing out of it I think was a smart thing to do there, and following my intuition, what meant we did not get involved in unnecessary collision. And now here, starting lap 16, we are going to the medium compound tyre, and we are going to be performing the undercut on the two Aston Martin drivers of Duncan and Fabrizio. Up ahead, Tom Manley has got a few seconds advantage to us as well, and yeah, he was in part of the leading train but was able to pull away in the opening lap, so we've got a bit of a job and a half on our hands to try and catch up to him. But now we are going to behind Jake Benham as we need to bring these medium tyres into the operating window and start to close down on the cars ahead. We did the purple middle sector, and we are indeed going to be able to perform the undercut versus the Aston Martin drivers of Duncan and Fabrizio, putting ourselves into a net position in this race of P8 at the moment, and a lot of opportunity to move forward. Fabrizio did get a speeding in pit lane penalty, so has a 10-second penalty that will not be removed, so you have to remember that in consideration as we fly past Jake Benham on the straight. And now behind Declan Barrett, as well as we're starting to close in on that leading train of cars ahead of us. So we're still not out of this fight for the race win, as we're going to be starting lap 18 of this race. Purple sector 3 again would be astronomically low wings here as well. Fabrizio was able to get behind us as well, getting past Jake Benham on the straight. You can see now lap 18, we go past Declan Barrett, and I saw an opportunity up ahead. I don't want to be involved in these cars behind. I want to be the first people or first person of this train to catch the cars ahead. So we overtake Declan, and then we start using our battery down the pit lane straight, and you can see 1.7 seconds for Freddy Rasmussen up ahead, and now we're going to need and critical to get in the DRS of the cars ahead. And you can see through sector 1 we're already there by using the battery. So that was a really key pivotal moment of our race, that we used a lot of our battery down the pit straight, and because of that was able to get into the DRS detection of Freddy Rasmussen earlier than expected. And now later on lap 19 our race is going to change. As you can see, everyone is fighting up ahead. We don't have that much spare battery, but I know we have so much potential in our tyres and our straight line speed due to the low wings. And you can see everyone is fighting up ahead. We play it patient on this apex, and we're going to go for a late apex, try to get early back on the power, find the clean air, cars fighting up ahead. We use our battery, we see an opportunity to get 3 overtakes in one straight. We open up the DRS, open up the overtake button, up the inside of Freddy, up the inside of Pookie, up the inside of Daniel Bresnay, deep on the brakes, have to leave him the space on the outside, side by side through corner 2. Now we have the traction on the exit, and we have got ourselves into P3 here in this race, and our race is completely changed by that one lap and 1 sector here in the Saudi Arabian GP, because yeah, we went straight away from P6 to P3, and there's only 5 laps to do in this race, and we have a fantastic opportunity to be winning this race here today, and we are going to be recharging our battery over these next laps.
That move's going on TikTok.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
You can hear my live reaction to that move, because it was pretty nuts.
I was clenching.
Yeah, yeah, that was my live reaction during the race, so it was quite funny to watch back. But yeah, now lap 22, we're all over the back of Jarno, and we have got an opportunity, and we're going to go up the inside, wasting no opportunity, and now getting the move done under the braking and catching Jarno a little bit unaware there, because he turned off his battery earlier in the straight, and as soon as I think he saw me using my battery, he turned it back on. But now we're all over the back of Tom. We're going to stay behind him so we have the DRS detection, and it's so critical for us that we do not use any extra battery than what we have to use in this situation. So now we're opening up the DRS, and now you can see we're behind Tom, and we are going to be taking the race lead. And you can see Jarno's going up the inside, but we're able to outbrake both of them, and then just actually having a big snap of oversteer in the braking zone, we are able to get into the race lead here on lap 23 of lap 25. You can see everyone behind us just all scrapping away for that DRS detection. Again, we're just going to hold.
And just keep me updated on Jarno's battery, just so I can understand what they're doing on track.
You can hear my live comments during the race. We're going to hold track position. We're going to use a lot of battery down the pit straight, because again, our low wings allows us to do that. We got hit quite hard by Tom Manley in the braking zone, and that's going to happen again later in the lap. So yeah, it's not optimal, but again, I think this is just a trademark of this track, that it's so hard to judge the stopping distances. You can see now everyone behind us is all going to be fighting over that DRS detection, and yeah, it's going to be absolute carnage. So I want to be behind, to be honest, because I don't want to be leading this train into the final lap. You can see now Tom is going to be under attack from the cars behind, and we're going to get hit in the corner left because Tom has to outbrake himself, and yeah, we got hit. And Tom goes off the track as a reaction. It's quite difficult to see on the video, but I definitely got hit, and watching from Duncan's POV, I got hit again. Not by Duncan, by Tom, but now we're 5 wide in the break zone. We back out of it, and now Jarno's spinning, and we have to take avoiding action of Jarno. And yeah, we have just gone from P1 to P4 in the space of about 4 seconds. And yeah, this is going to be a difficult final lap now. And yeah, when I saw that we were 5 wide, I backed out of it, went for the switchback. But because Jarno and Duncan tagged each other, Jarno got spun around, what meant it blocked my racing line and blocked my ability to do the switchback. So I had to take avoiding action of Jarno, and that meant that we couldn't get the momentum onto the pit straight to regain some of the track positions. So, situation. Fabrizio is leading, teammate of Duncan. Fabrizio has a speeding and pit lane penalty, what means he's basically going to be finishing behind us anyway. Tom is moved up to P2. Duncan is in provisionally P1 right now, and we're provisionally in P3, heading into these final corners of the race, and we're just going to try and play this smart. We're not going to be desperate, we're not going to make a risky move, and we're just going to try and let everything play out in a really normal way, to be honest.
Duncan battery, please.
You're going to be asking for Duncan's battery. You can see now Fabrizio is up ahead, and he's just basically going to help Duncan in this situation. It's fair, to be honest, they're teammates, so it's good teamwork. Doesn't help us, of course, it's not good for us, but we decide not to use the battery on this first straight and save it for the run-up to start-finish line. But in hindsight, this was a mistake. We probably should have used the battery right now to try and get the inside of Tom. But yeah, it's difficult to place when you're P4 in a train like this. But yeah, able to capitalize on Fabrizio's penalty, and we're going to be moving up into P3 after the
Unlucky,
races have...
but we can't win them all. So 100%, yeah, another podium.
So yeah, you can hear my live reaction basically saying you can't win them all. What's true? We did get quite unfortunate with being hit twice on the lap 24 with Tom. One into turn 1, but didn't really cost us anything, and then into the start of sector 3 will cost us quite a lot, to be honest. I don't think I'm going to report Tom for it, because I think it's just how racing goes on this track. There's so much closing speed, there's so much carnage going on, that I think it was just a genuine mistake from Tom. And then, of course, what happened with Jarno being tagged with Duncan and spinning ahead of us meant that we couldn't get the switch back onto the pit straight. So, yeah, all things considered, with going too low on the downforce of the car, being suboptimal on the pace, because of that, was able to come back and be P3, you know. So I'm very happy with that, very satisfied. Of course, would have been nice to win, but as I said immediately after the race, you can't win them all. And if situations played out slightly differently, we might have won, we might have been P20. It's racing. So I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling calm, I feel confident, and I'm sure that later in the season that race win will come. But with this game, you just have to let it be. You have to just understand how the game is the game, as people would say. So yeah, just let it flow organically, and then what will happen will happen. What will be. But for now, we are 3 podiums out of 4 races in this season, and we have closed the gap to Jarno in the Drivers' Championship. I'm going to miss the next race, quite simply because I'm not going to be at home during the next race or PSGL on Wednesday, what I think is Spa. So more than likely we're going to lose some ground in the championship, but this is all just a precursor for F1 sim racing / F1 esports later in the year anyway. When I have news on that, I'll let you know and keep you updated. But yeah, I'm feeling happy, confident, and everything is going in a good training way for F1 esports. So be back for WOR on Sunday, this Sunday, and then, like I say, I'll be missing the next PSGL race for Spa, and yeah, it's good. I'm going to try and continue to make more tutorials on this game now and come back to that kind of thing, because I feel motivated, I feel happy with that as well. So with everything being said, grazie ragazzi, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the straight line speed, be sure to like the video. Grazie, ciao ciao, bye bye.